Hey everybody, look, my name is Josh Long. This is the good, the great, the inimitable, the amazing Dr. Mark Pollock, founder and co-lead of Spring AI. Is that about right?
That is good.
Yeah. And we're going to catch you up to what's been going on in the Spring AI ecosystem for the last, this project, you first showed this project to me like 3 years ago, 3 spring winds ago.
I think 2.5.
2.5, yeah. So there's a lot.
Like that. 3, I guess.
Yeah. It's been a
good counting.
Quite the journey. That journey, you know, ongoing though it is, we had a huge milestone in that, a huge waypoint, landmark, whatever. Yeah. Just on May 20th, we had the release of Spring AI 1.0. Who's already using Spring AI 1.0? Womp womp. Okay, you're in the right place. You'll learn why. So we're gonna look at the intro, we're gonna look at the 80% that you need to know to kind of get a feel for the lay of the land of Spring AI. And then we're going to look at some of the new stuff, looking forward, right, as well. That's exciting.
In case you didn't feel you had to catch up to level 1, we're going to do level 2 and 3.
Right, 11. Go to 11, exactly.
Yeah, go to 11. Why not?
Yeah, so you can find the code for my little section of this thing over here. So you can take note of that GitHub repository there. It's there for your notification. You'll note that at the moment it's quite empty, so just don't hold that against me. We'll fix that in a second, okay? Or sorry, 45 minutes. Whatever, same thing. All right, good. So look, I'm always so excited about these things. I'm always so excited, but I always struggle with what we're going to talk about. What can we show? What can we look at to kind of best exemplify things? And you know, I always struggle to find a domain that's kind of representative of what we care about. And I was thinking we could do something like the Spring Pet Clinic, you know, maybe an AI version of that.
Yeah.
And the Spring Pet Clinic, super old. I mean, who hasn't heard of the Spring Pet Clinic? Who's heard of it? It's been around for like 25, most of Spring's illustrious history.
Yeah, we like pets.
Yeah, pets are great. I like dogs and cats and all that. And I'm a big fan of the Spring Pet Clinic, but it's a little too much. It's a little too much. We've got so very little time and so much to do. So I thought, what if we did something with dogs, right? Animals, dogs, cats, pets, that kind of thing. And I'm reminded of my dog, right? I have a, look, I love almost all dogs, okay? Almost all of them, except for mine, right? No, that's not even true. I love my dog. I just don't like him. You know what I'm saying? He's not a good boy. He's a terrible dog, but he's mine, okay? And I think about him a lot all the time, right? He reminds me of another dog about which I learned during the pandemic. Do you remember this?
The BC days?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Before COVID, BC, exactly. I learned about this other dog whose owner was trying to rehouse this dog. So this advert went up on Facebook. This woman was trying to find a new house for this dog, and she described this dog rather hilariously. She said, okay, I've tried for the last several months to post this dog for adoption and make him sound palatable. The problem is he's just not. There's not a very big market for neurotic, man-hating, animal-hating, children-hating dogs that look like gremlins. But I have to believe there's someone out there for him. Because I'm tired and so is my family. Every day we live in the grips of the demonic Chihuahua hellscape that he has created in our home. If you own a Chihuahua, you probably know what I'm talking about. And she continues. She says, I was excited to see him come out of his shell and become a real dog. I'm convinced at this point that he's not a real dog, but more like a vessel for a traumatized Victorian child that now haunts our home. She continues, Prancer wants to be your only child. And then she signs off rather ominously that, oh, by the way, she says, you can't live in an apartment or a condo unless you want him to ankle bite your neighbors. We already addressed the men and children situation. If you have people over, he'd have to be put away like he's a vacuum. I know finding someone who wants a Chucky doll in a dog's body is hard, but I have to try. And then she signs off rather ominously, warning, oh, he's only 2 years old, but will probably live to be 21 through pure spite. So take that into account. So I think about, like, how could we find houses, homes, loving homes for these spicy dogs.
Chihuahuas.
Right, yeah, exactly. These are fun dogs. These are extra challenges, right? And to be fair, he is very cute. I mean, look at that dog. That's a cute dog. I would totally pet that dog. That said, I might lose a digit or two, right? So, and this dog, by the way, just to cut to the chase, this one did get adopted, okay? So don't cry. Like, here's People magazine talking about the dog in that ad, right? And then here's a BuzzFeed, slow news day.
But the best is last.
Yeah, caught up with Prancer. And then, of course, here's the New York Times, right? Talking about
New
this.
York Times material.
Yeah, okay, come on. Oh, maybe I have to.
Oh, no.
No. This is so awkward. Look away. Look away. It's not going to work. There is a New York Times article there. And the point is, the dog got adopted, but how do we help others get to the dog, right? And most people don't learn about dogs by reading about them in the New York Times, certainly. So I would think you'd want to go to a shelter and be able to ask questions of the shelter about the dogs, to interview the dogs in a way. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to use Spring AI to help us build an assistant to help people reunite with the dogs of their dreams, or, nightmares, okay? So what we're going to do, as always, is we're going to go to start.spring.io, my second favorite place on the internet. Obviously, my first favorite is
production.
Thank you. And we're going to build a new service here called Assistant, okay? Or better yet, Adoptions. And this service, we're going to use Maven, Java, Spring Boot, the latest and greatest GA version. Do we know when the new version will support Spring Boot 4.2, which just dropped the day before the conference?
A lot later than the rest of the portfolio.
Okay, sure. And then we have the latest and greatest version of Java. Look, friends, we've talked about this before. We have 3 radio boxes that you could select, but these 2 are just here to see who make terrible life decisions, okay? They're not here for any other reason. You should never click these. These are trolls. Never click these buttons, okay? We track that. So we have Java 24. We have that. We're going to add the web support. We're going to add, we want a Postgres, but I'm going to use Postgres as a vector database, okay? That's a whole class of data structure. You can use any number of different vector databases. Spring AI supports, like a dozen, more than 20? 20 or so different vector stores. And a lot of these you probably already have installed in your organization. You've got Postgres, you've got SQL Server, Oracle, Azure. I mean, these are a lot of different existing data stores that will do double duty as vector stores. And then some of them are purpose-built. So Qdrint and, what are they, Weaviate and, there's a whole bunch of them, right? I'm going to use Postgres.
Neo4j.
Neo4j, that's one you've got that'll do double duty. Okay, PG Vector, Web. We want OpenAI. Now, I'm going to use, how many different models do we support, Doc? 20 different models or more. And there's the Spring AI community, and you can find many more there, I suppose.
Yeah, some models that, Asian models that we can't access here.
Right, okay. So we can use OpenAI. Bear in mind, this is not necessarily the default choice, right? There are a lot of organizations with whom we speak that want air-gapped, firewall-friendly, no multi-tenancy, no cloud, no nothing, based AI models. So you can use whatever you want, right? This is one of the benefits of using Spring AI, is that wanted portability that allows you to go from one model to another. So I'm going to use this, but again, you do you, okay? Did you hear about the New York Times case a few months ago where OpenAI got in a bit of, they were ordered to preserve all logs of all discussions, right? For a case involving the New York Times. See how that all ties back?
Everything's connected.
The circle of strife. So anyway, we've got OpenAI. You can do whatever you want, okay? We've got 20 different models there. Very common financial organizations, and in Europe in particular with GDPR, they use it, Olama, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah, you can use Olama on your laptop. Especially Macs are good at it.
Yeah. So okay, OpenAI, we've got PG Vector, we got the web support. We need, I want chat memory, so I'll use the JDBC backed chat memory. I need Spring Data JDBC to do data access. Now look, for years and years and years, I would say, hey, I'm going to use JPA because I make terrible decisions. But now it's not even worth it. I'm just going to use the right thing. Use something else, okay? There you go. And I think that's it. We want GraalVM, of course. There we go. You can have that. You might want to bring in the actuator. This is, for our purpose, we don't have enough time, but you would bring this in if you wanted better observability. It's very important to be able to track your token consumption.
That is true.
We'll talk about that in a bit. Okay, hit enter. Open this up. Okay, UAO adoptions.zip. Okay, you wouldn't believe it. Okay, adoptions.zip. So the first things first, we're going to connect this application to our data store, which is running in the background there. JDBC : PostgreSQL localhost my database, yeah? And then we want Spring Data JDBC username. Okay, username is my user, and then the password is secret. Yeah? And we're just going to build a controller that will allow us to ask questions of the shelter about the dogs in the shelter, right? So we're going to say assistant controller, and we'll have an endpoint here that you can ask. I guess we can just make it a get. So we can say dogs, and then the username, and then assistant. Okay, string query, path variable is the string username, and then we're going to add the Spring framework, Spring AI framework chat client. Now, I love the Spring framework, Spring AI chat client. It's written by the best people. Okay, this is great code. Absolutely huge fan of this interface, and you should use it as well. Okay, it's By the best people, okay? So we're gonna add that in. I'm gonna inject that into the constructor, and we have to factory it. We have to actually build up the instance here, okay? And we have several things we need to configure. So as we configure it, we're gonna do so here, specifying some defaults where we can, and at the call site where there's just a one-off sort of specification. And we're gonna use the model. We'll say, hey, model, take this question being asked of by the user, string, this is a request param, string question, take that in, put that in, and then call this, and then get back the content as a string, yeah? So let's try that. I think that'll work. Oh.
Yeah, and this is designed specifically to look like other Fluent APIs that you might already be familiar with, like web client or REST client.
Yeah, and JDBC client and so on. And very important point, I have already specified an OpenAI API key. Oh, wrong one. I've specified an OpenAI API key off screen, right, before we got on stage. And so this is going to work for me, but if you don't specify it, it won't work for you. It's an environment variable in my machine that I've already specified, okay? Just because it's not here, you have to give me you have to just trust that it's been done, okay? And forgive me for not leaking my API credential, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and use that. Let's go ahead and spin this up. And you know what I just realized I forgot to add? This is
MCP?
Yeah, well, we'll get to that later. Okay, here we go.
I was going to say it, but
Yeah, it's okay. Everything's an opportunity. So it's a teachable moment, right? So we have a dogs, and then J-along, and then assistant, okay? And then the question will be, do you have any... Okay, we're going to try and find our buddy Prancer, right? That's the question. So let's ask that. Okay, I don't have pets, but I can certainly provide information about neurotic dogs. So it's a well-intentioned, albeit incorrect response, right? It's answering as though we want help with neurotic dogs, and it's not giving us any information about the dogs in the shelter. So the first thing we need to do is to take this model and sort of give it some guidance. You know what else I could do that would be kind of a problem? Try this. What if I told it my name, right? My name is Josh. Right, and hopefully we'll set up look at that. Nice to meet you, Josh. Huh? How can I assist you today? That's nice, that's nice. Let's see if we're actually friends. Yeah, so...
See if this relationship lasts.
What's my name? It's gonna be fine. I'm sorry, but I don't know your name. Why do I have this effect on people? Every time. So...
so people think it's gonna behave like ChatGPT but ChatGPT is an app on top of the underlying API, and the API itself is stateless, so...
Right.
Part of what you have to build up on your app is that state to send to the model.
So we've got a lot of problems to
history. Yeah, a lot of shit to do.
So we have to do this. We have to create a Spring Bean to manage the memory, and that's called the chat memory. And there are different implementations of this, so we can use the JDBC chat memory, okay? No, we want the prompt chat memory advisor, right? And this is an advisor. This is the thing that allows you to intercept, to pre-process requests sent to and from the model. And in particular, this advisor will help us keep track of what's been said and formulate a transcript which will be relayed on every subsequent interaction. So this prompt chat memory advisor needs a chat memory. I don't want to send all of the chat memory though, so I'll use the message window chat memory builder.build, okay? And then that in turn needs a repository to store things. And you can surmise we've already got JDBC, so we might as well use our SQL database as the JDBC chat memory repository implementation, right? So we'll do that, and then we'll point it to the data source here. So data source, here we go, put that in there, and then put this in there, and then put that over here, right? Okay. Good. There's the prompt chat memory advisor, the builder, and the build. Rolls right off the tongue. Let's inject that over here, okay? And I'm going to use that as our first interceptor, right? Our advisor, rather. So we add that. And now we can try reloading, asking the same question. Okay, so let's say, my name is Josh, right? Okay, nice to meet you, Josh. How can I assist you today? Fantastic. Okay, what's my name? Your name is Josh. It remembers me. I know.
Relationship restored.
Oh, so much better now, right? So good. We've got chat memory, and that's being managed in the SQL database, running behind the scenes, right? That's good. Now, obviously, we didn't solve the other problem. It's still undirected. Right now, we've got just a direct pipeline to my OpenAI account. You can ask it for help with your history homework or something, right? I don't want that. I want to give it some direction. So the way I can do that is by giving it a system prompt. And I happen to have a system prompt over here on the machine. So I'm going to cat that and then copy it to the clip. No, I'm sorry, that's wrong. That's better, okay? We'll dog that to the clipboard. There we go. So we've got the system. It's okay. Your sympathy it has no place here. No, it's okay. I don't take sympathy claps. It's just, don't need that. Don't need it. Thank you. Okay, should I just leave? I should just leave. So you are an AI-powered assistant to help people adopt a dog from the adoption agency named Pooch Palace, with locations in Antwerp, Seoul, Tokyo, Singapore, Paris, Mumbai, New Delhi, Barcelona, San Francisco, and London. And wait a minute. Of course I meant Las Vegas too. And information about the dogs available will be presented below. If there's no information, then return a polite response suggesting we don't have any dogs available. Fair, okay? Ask that, run that prompt in there. Try this again. And let's see. Let's ask it a question about dogs, right? Actually, let's just say, my name is Josh. Let's see what it does to the response. There you go. How can I assist you today? So it's trying to get us to a place where it's going to answer questions, presumably about the dog adoption, right? And then let's ask it about the neurotic dogs. Let's see if it changes the response there, okay? Okay. I'm sorry, but it seems we don't have any information about neurotic dogs available for adoption at Pooch Palace at this time. So it does know about our context. It knows that we're trying to drive towards an adoption situation. It's not trying to give us medical advice on how to deal with neurotic dogs. Better, but it still isn't answering our question, is it? We need to give it access to that data, and that data lives in a SQL database. We want to get that data, but we don't want to give it access to all the data, right? Because it's the principle of the thing, isn't it? That all that data there might be a lot of data. In this case, there's only 18 records, but suppose there were like 18 trillion records. You don't want to send all that data to the model for analysis, only those that are most salient, most germane to the query at hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it into a vector store and use that to support semantic similarity search. And then from there, I will ask the model to analyze the results and then send that on for further analysis, okay? So we're going to inject all that stuff. We're going to take it out of the SQL data store. I'll create a simple dog repository here. Extends list of CRUD repository, managing entities of type dog, whose primary key is of type integer. We'll create a dog entity, int ID, string name, string owner, and a string description. Okay, and we're going to use Spring Data JDBC to map it, right? And I'm using Java Records. I love Java Records. Huge fan. So much better. How many of you using Java Records? Yes, that's the way to go, okay? And we've got that, so now we're going to say dog repository, and we're going to write it out to our PG vector store based initialization or implementation. I'm going to tell it to use the vector score schema. I'm going to tell it to, I think I have an environment variable. Earlier, you would have had to do this as well. I think I have that already set up somewhere. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to say repository.findAll.findAll.forEach, and then for each dog, we're going to write it out to the vector store. So var, I'm going to create a Spring AI document, okay? So ID, name, description, and I think that's it. Yeah, surely. So we're going to say dog.id, name, and then dog.description. Here we go. And we'll say vector store.add list.of, okay, and document. Now, that looks okay, except I just realized this is a document for dogs, so obviously that is a document, okay? We'll leave it like that. I know. Hey, I'm here all week. I just never had anybody like wince in pain at my jokes.
It's Vegas.
Oh, jeez.
Higher standards for entertainment here.
Really? I mean, that's
Luckily it stays in Vegas.
Yeah, okay. Oh. Yesterday, I was doing a talk with Rob Winch on Spring Security, and we talked about dogs, and we talked about a hypothetical situation where you have a service that hasn't yet been secured. And so the terrible joke that neither of us could bring ourselves to do was, if it's not secured, then who let the dogs out? Anyway, it's not going to get better from here, is it?
It might.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so inusable. So we've got this vector store. We're just going to initialize it, right? Write it out when the application starts up, and then it's going to initialize. This is going to take a little while. It's going to talk to our OpenAI embedding model, and that takes a few seconds the very first time around. So we'll let that do its thing. The next thing I need to do is to configure an advisor to help it sort of to query the vector store whenever we're making a request. So bean question answer advisor, and we'll inject the vector store thusly, and we'll say return. There you go. That's actually the whole thing there. And we're going to inject that into our into our model here, okay? There we go.
Question and answer advisor takes your question. It's going to do a search in the vector database for similar dogs.
Right.
And then stuff it into the prompt.
Right.
And send it on its way.
Right. And literally, the almighty, how do you say it? The almighty string concatenation operator?
Yes.
Right.
Or SQL injection for good.
Right. So here we go. So now I'm not going to reinitialize all the data in the vector store. You can see that data, by the by. You go over here, click on this, click on that. Come on, take your time. Hurry up, though. Database, public, tables, Spring AI vector store. Here's the data in the vector store. 18 records that correspond to 18 dogs, okay? So there's the vectorized form. Yeah. Okay, so now let's ask the question, do you have any neurotic dogs? And if everything's gone to plan, we'll find our buddy Prancer. Yes, we do have a neurotic dog available for adoption. Her name's Prancer, and she's described as a demonic neurotic dog that is not fond of men, animals, or children. If you're interested in this or have any other questions, feel free to ask. And boy, am I. Boy, would I like to adopt this dog. So the final thing, of course, is we want to, like we did in the keynote the other day, we want to give our AI model just a little agency to help it make the right decision here. And so we're going to build a little dog adoption scheduler very quickly here. So it's a class dog adoption scheduler. And we'll create a Spring Bean. And, I'll create a simple endpoint here. Tool, description. Whoa, hey, come back. What is that? Tool, description, schedule, an appointment to pick up or adopt a dog from a Pooch Palace location, okay? And we'll just return a time given the dog ID and the dog name, which the model will know because we'll have annotated this with @toolparam, description, the ID of the dog, and toolparam, toolparam, description, the name of the dog. I'm not even sure that it doesn't always make a difference, that part, but it's nice to have that. So I'm going to say 3 days in the future and toString, and voila. So I'm going to make that tool available to my model here just by injecting it, okay? Scheduler.
So for those not familiar, tool calling is when the model realizes it has a way to solve your problem, and in order to do that, it can invoke a tool. So then it's going to call back to you, in this case, this laptop, to answer the question. The response is sent, and then it continues. You can call more tools, or it can say, I think I'm done here, and gives the response back.
Loss. Okay, here we go. So we've asked it to look ahead. Okay, August 29th, today is the 26th. That's 3 days in the future. So it got that response. I don't know, I don't think I even bothered to put a
print line.
Here we go. Okay, system out. Print line, date is for, okay, and then dog name, dog ID, return I, and try that same query again. Here we go. August 29th, this time. Oh, because it's remembered it this time, isn't it? So that's the problem with the chat memory. Hold on. So delete.
Don't worry, it worked. Let's go on.
Spring AI. I just want to see it work. Okay, here we go. So one more time, this time for all the marbles. Okay, here we go. Do you have any neurotic dogs? Okay, and when am I? August 29th. Wait, how did it know that? Did I print it?
It's sentient already.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, all that to say, we've got tool calling. The natural next step will be to do like an MCP service we talked about in the keynote. And I think tomorrow, our buddy Joe Granja has a session on implementing authorization for MCP. So that's a whole other kettle of fish, right? But I want to get to this is where we are today. You can build MCP services with ease. This is a protocol that you can use with ease.
How many people know what MCP stands for yeah? That's a good number of no's there. So
a quick demo?
No, just a quick explanation or however you feel. Sure, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, we could do the 5-minute demo or 5-minute explanation. I'm not sure where we land.
I'll speak for 30 seconds.
Do it.
It's a protocol across languages based on JSON RPC to invoke tools. And then basically people have made libraries of tools, and you just take the one off the shelf you need, you plug it in, and you use it. Less than 5 minutes.
It's way better, actually. Yeah. So anyway, that's good stuff. That's how you connect your infrastructure with your models?
Like a GitHub MCP server.
Right.
Like an MCP server you make to query your database.
So good. So good. So okay, so that's where we are. I think the future's, it's a lot more than just simple request response interactions though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, you want to switch to me now?
Yeah.
Very clever.
So look over there, what's that?
Yeah, okay.
Subtle. So they call me. One more thing.
Oh, I guess that works too. Yeah. So what we saw before was using this chat client API, and that's kind of like, let's call it the JDBC level, if you like, right? You're at the guts of the API, and you have to build up history, memory. You can invoke tools and all that kind of stuff. But I'm sure we all heard around agents, right? And that's kind of like a next level, next iteration of doing things. And bench here refers to benchmarks. And so what I'll talk about is really how we can bring autonomous AI, like, do something for me and then come back later and lots of complicated things happen and you get your answer. But as it relates to doing software development specifically in Java. And so the problem we have, these things are everywhere, right? In particular, there's a new set of tools, just like there used to be completion endpoints coming from many companies. Tools like Claude Code or Gemini CLI or OpenHands. Have people heard of Claude Code? Yeah? That's a good number, right? So if you've used that, seen it, right, you can kind of see the magic that's happening. It's kind of all coming together, right? I hope people have had aha moments. I know I have. And when you look at how good AI is in Java and you go to benchmarks, it's kind of a real messy situation in the benchmark area. And we're going to talk more about that. Basically, they don't really do anything remotely resembling your job. And the benchmarks are just worse in many ways. So this is kind of my take on the benchmarks in particular, trying to see what people say these things can do. And it's very much a Python landscape. If you look at the numbers, you'd think that these models are 7 times worse at Java than Python. It's just not true. So you have this kind of benchmark out of Princeton called SWE, Software Engineering Benchmark. And it's about trying to fix bugs, right? And they get issues from PRs, code from PRs and make a system out of it, which also is not very realistic when you dig into the details. And then someone said, I'll do it for Java, and they get 10, right? And then someone said, I'm going to do it for Java, TypeScript, and Python, and they got like even worse all over the place, right? So for me, having spent like literally hundreds of hours now inside these CLI-based tools like Claude Code, it totally doesn't match my experience, right? It just kind of shows that the benchmarks fail, and they fail for a variety of reasons. One of which was there's this little 100 lines of code instead of 3,000 lines of code that are written as an agent, and there's just like a trick to get a high benchmark score. It's kind of strange. So it's about looping. And it's not really reasoning, it's not really planning, it's not sitting down and say, let's do test-driven development to figure out and make a reproducible bug. It's very strange. It's essentially graded on tests that you never see. So imagine I asked you to fix a bug, and in order for your bug fix to work, it has to be written to get a test that you never saw, right? So if you get the variable name wrong, you fail, right? Totally unrealistic. It's hard to believe, someone from Princeton thought this was a good idea. And then even the ones that pass, academics have looked into it more and said they were ungraded incorrectly. So I don't know, there's kind of messes all over the place, right? And so what's missing really is that benchmarks ignore real developer workflows, like writing tests I mentioned, validation and integration testing. I don't know about you, I've had to debug a distributed system and get 10 logs and then figure it out. I chucked those 10 logs to the AI and it figured it out. Pretty intelligent. Code review, upgrading, breaking changes. And what's very key in all of this, and I think is sort of the current wave, is that these tools are reading in context as needed, exploring your directory structure on your computer as a primary means, also searching the web, and that really takes it to the next level. So I started a project now to help solve this problem. Spring AI Bench, this is where it lives. There's a community organization related to Spring AI, which is under the Spring Projects GitHub organization. But this is outside that. It's an area for incubation and also some projects that people from the community can just manage themselves and release themselves. So we can't do everything, right? And so this is a way for the community to get involved. And so really the philosophy is, can it really act like a Java developer? And so kind of at the beginning of this, in the sense that, there's kind of been a thorough review of the existing research. But I've already done, sort of benchmarking myself around issue analytics, pull request reviews. There are probably many other things, right? And I'd love to hear from you. So that's kind of the keeping them honest part, right? The part that is more actionable, let's say right now, is this project called Spring AI Agents, right? And came across this in a podcast. I thought it was the simplest definition. It's just software that accomplishes a goal, right? That's it. I think it's easy. Don't get more complicated than that. However, just like Chat Client helped bring a unified API to different completion endpoints, again, much like JDBC did the same for databases, right? This is taking it to the next level. There's a class called Agent Client, and it will programmatically call these agent tools we've been talking about, like Claude Code or Gemini CLI, and so on. And so we have 3 providers. A 4th one's coming, OpenHands. So essentially, under the hoods, in a way, it's a little embarrassing, it's a glorified process exec wrapper, right? And these libraries exist in Claude Code for Python, but not for Java. But it does exist in the sense that there was a lot of community demand in the Claude or Anthropic ecosystem for a programmatic way to do this. So if you program Chat Client, which is on the left, then like you saw Josh doing, right? This could look familiar. You have Agent Client instead of doing a prompt, right? You ask it for a goal, like add Spring Security to this project. And then you run, you get the result. Hopefully the result is great, it compiles, off you go. That's the type of high-level expectation you should start to have from using these kind of tools. So again, we're really into the design of APIs, right? It has to look like something you've seen before in Spring. In this case, the nearest parallel is Chat Client. So here we're telling it what directory to work in. Because very often you've checked out your code base in a certain directory and you'd like to say, do this, right? Again, you could do this interactively in the terminal, right? But what I'm trying to go for is more the autonomous route, where you can accumulate a whole bag of tricks, right? And I show you some for issue evaluation. So there's a prompt object, and parallel here is the goal object. So you could parameterize it with curly braces and send in, different expressions. Anyway, similar object hierarchy. Again, going down the object hierarchy, there was a chat model. That's the portable layer that builds on top of Chat Client. Again, analogous to web and the HTTP providers, web client, HTTP providers. Same thing applies here. So, this is a toy example, right? But you can kind of just get the gist of what you're writing, which is like, here's an issue. Pretend this is a GitHub issue, right? And then your ask is, please classify this issue, right? And so part of the stuff that'll be going into the benchmark is that I really reproduce some academic papers, and there's a thing called F1 score, right? And when you actually get down to really writing the right prompt and do the issue classification, the paper did it with like 5, I think, labels. We do it with 100, and we get just as good score. In fact, we get on 20 or so labels, completely perfect score. It's always right, which makes sense, right? If you're using the Postgres database, right, for vector stores, and the word Postgres is everywhere in the issue, it's going to match it, very easily. And so one demo I've done, I want to show briefly. The results is PR analysis. So I'm trying to lighten my load as the developer who does Spring AI. And it's a pretty successful project now, which means we get a lot of PRs, which is great. But, when you get 20 a day and you're one person, maybe that day, that's kind of a lot to go through, right? So I'm like, wouldn't it be great if I woke up in the morning and I had ready to go a screen that said 20 PRs came in last night, these 3 are trivial, these 3 are not, are medium, and these 5 you should backport, right? That was what I was trying to solve. And here's a sample of that, right? So this was 10 runs. This was done, I don't know, actually a little while ago, the end of last month. And yeah, I made a little theme, right, about picking apples off, fruit off of a tree. And so here you can see like fixed method callback enum handling. And it's great. It gives you a nice summary, right? And then here you can say view assessment. And it's giving you a really intelligent analysis of what's going on. It says this is why we could bring this into a backport. And yeah, here are these outstanding concerns. And so I'm in the process of tweaking this. It always wants to talk about performance. It's like, this is usually 99% not my issue, right? So I got it. But that's the thing. Once you build up the template, then you start tweaking the rules, saying, don't worry about that. Worry about this, and so on. So you can build up this very sophisticated system. And mine, in particular, let's see why. Anyway, you get the idea, right? I won't go into too much detail here. Oops. Where was the, I got it. Oh, it's, yeah. I often forget I'm doing an HTML slide. By the way, I didn't type these slides. This was Claude Code. I never give HTML slides. I used to type everything in with So yeah, another case that I've done kind of on my own, but we'll publish into these benchmarks, is it's a quantifiable thing. Code coverage at the start was 0.5. Tell it to increase code coverage. Come back 10 minutes later, did it do its job? You can measure it, right? We have tools for code coverage. A very simple benchmark, right? Effectiveness at test writing. And Josh likes this a lot, here's your task. Upgrade to Java 25, right? Not an unreasonable request in my mind nowadays to ask these things. And this YOLO mode is true because there is a facade of trying to be concerned about not doing RM minus RF on your root directory, right? But you kind of let it go wild just so it could really try hard to get to the end, right? So that's kind of the trick, to say, just go to the end, get it done.
Nothing says enterprise like YOLO.
Yes, that's I think a new T-shirt, right? Yeah, yeah. So I like typing a method YOLO. It's fun. So all together now, like the Beatles, there's these 2 new projects. They're community projects, so they're not yet really folded in. Who knows? So it's a kind of period for feedback to hear what people think, right? And I think this is compelling because my take is that agents now, meaning these tools as they're being delivered, there's in IDE and stuff. I'm talking about just the autonomous little Venn diagram of that space. It's great that it can do it, but how do you know, right? And you can compare. What I expect over time is that you'll see that this model is good at that, this model is good at another one. People might be interested in building their own little agent loops. You don't have to have something very complex to get a lot of value. This could then potentially run on other models, right? So you have some flexibility here, and you're not necessarily trapped into one tool or one vendor per se, right? No one wants to be stuck with one vendor. So I think together this is really how you can transform things here. So for the developers, you can start it. There's a project there. I think you have to still build it locally. I didn't push it to Maven Central, but it's a pretty complete project, right? As projects go. I should just click on the link. That would be smart. Oh, yes. Oh, the Wi-Fi thing. What do I do? That's going to... Oops. All right, I'm not going to do that. So I'll just wrap up then. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, yeah, go look at this, right? There's nice docs there and stuff like that. And, yeah, I'm going to try and have a leaderboard. Make it very open, very easy. That's another problem with the academic benchmarks. They take days to run for various technical reasons that they're solving. Like they made a 1 gigabyte Docker image that has to start up every 5 minutes. Yeah, not the smartest thing in the world. And then they run it on a cluster of computers. So anyway, this hopefully is more iterative and more open, right? And you don't have to be a PhD from Princeton to do this kind of stuff. And I meant to show the code, but anyway, I think we're kind of out of time, no?
Yeah, well, and that's okay because we covered almost everything that we wanted to cover except for MCP. But the good news is, if you stay right here, right in this very room, the great Dan Vega is going to cover MCP. That's true, right? That's true. I didn't make that up. It didn't hallucinate like some of those models I know.
Really? Okay.
Right? So that actually worked out quite well. I want to say that we planned that, but I completely forgot to mention his thing because I was nervous, you know. But yeah, stay right here. The best is yet to come. But this should have been one long talk. Yeah, that's great. And then, of course, go check out this stuff. We're happy to take questions now, of course. But the benchmark and the AI agent stuff, I can't wait for you all to try it out. Questions, comments, feedback on any of this?
Yeah, love to hear. We even have a mic.
Yeah. I have a question. Who learned something new? Okay. Who had fun? All right. Well, that's a... Look, please vote, okay? Look, I've been in this business a long time. I have no shame. Please vote. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Vote, you know? Like,
so let me ask this question. So what language-based primary language that they based this squeal on?
Yeah, I mean, the agent itself or their framework is all written in Python, and then they know Python, so they figured we'll evaluate Python code, right? But, you know, I don't know, but the vibe I get is they're just, you know, they live in just a different universe, not in a bad way, right? Enterprise Java developers don't act like, you know, machine learning scientists in the way they manage code and deliver it. It's just a different world. One's not better than the other, it's just, you know, it's not appropriate for what we're doing in this room.
Since they can't see the test, does the model recommend test, or it says, oh, this looks so good?
Yeah, I mean, when you dig into it, basically, you realize that the models themselves have become so contaminated that they almost know by memorization the answers, which is when they give it different Python questions now, it goes from 60% to 20. So, and this test has been around long enough and they've trained new models, and this has kind of been like leakage. Like, it's trained itself on the spec, on the, you know, like, how do you tell the model not to come across the Python library, right? So there's a lot of criticism about it. It's not just me, right? Some lone nut. Let me tell you why Einstein was wrong, right? You know, that's not the case. But these benchmarks, trust me, these do not pass the smell test at all once you double click into it. It's surprising.
So any of the models pricing?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting very small gap. You know, it used to be Anthropic. Claude was, you know, 3.5, 3.7 was king of coding, right, for a long time. But the Gemini 2.5 models that came out, they're very, very capable, you know. And then OpenAI has its own CLI tool. I haven't integrated with it yet, and they have also other ways of doing stuff. Theirs improved a lot. So what's happening now is because everyone can cheat effectively on this benchmark, it looks like they're all achieving parity. But I think actually that's one case where they're correct. Maybe it's they are all kind of getting here. And I think one important thing, you know, is like you talk about Moore's law. Right? There's a law now in AI, maybe call it Altman's law. It's 10x really, right? It's not a 2x improvement. It's 10x, right? And this is not 10x in making a smaller laptop for me. This is, you know, 10x in intelligence, right? Or it's some x in intelligence, right? So this, what I'm talking about now, was not possible 6 months ago. Totally not. I'm totally on top of all the tools. Wasn't possible. Now it is, and it's just going to get, you know, smarter, right? So I think you have to really start to think about how you bring this AI stuff in, like, to, you know, get rid of the cruft. Like, how do I sit and sort through all these freaking PRs just to first put them in a frame of mind that I can actually understand and take action on, right? And let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, a PR is like, I'm changing this to support that, and like, there's no test, right? And these models are great at tests. Then you say, Claude, write a test. When you're done, call me. And it does, right? So I think we can spread this type, or at least my experience, right? You know, to a larger group, right? And these benchmarks keep you honest, you know, and they really focus on what we do.
Oops.
Yeah,
That'll be it.
that was my timer.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my preaching. I'm done.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you,
Take care.
everybody.